Well, good afternoon, everybody. I presume everybody's there because I actually can't see you, so this is a little strange. It's a little like I'm talking to myself, so whoever has logged on this afternoon, thank you very, very much. My name's Ali. I'm a therapist, emotional wellbeing, and I work with everybody really from about 4's my youngest, and in all honesty, my oldest was 104, but that's a whole nother podcast. I've been invited today by the lovely Sarah to tell you about something called Ollie and his superpowers. Now, my background and training is CBT, which some of you may have heard of, cognitive behavioural therapy. And I was only working with adults. I wasn't working with children. I don't have children of my own, although I have a few thousand now. And I found it, and it's just me, maybe I have learning difficulties, a little bit clunky, a little bit long-winded, just a little bit. So I decided that because of my learning difficulties, I need things simple. And I also absolutely hate the idea that I need a label or a box or that I need fixing. So I threw everything up in the air, all the training I'd ever received from various different forms of therapy, play therapy, cognitive therapy, and I took the best of it. So I'm like a magpie. I've just pinched bits and I simplified it. And I've got about 20 minutes to take you through the wonderful world that is Ollie and his superpowers. So first off, why do we call it superpowers? Well, this all came about, and this is very, very true. Ollie wouldn't have happened without this. I was in my therapy room one day, and a lady that I'd worked with before came charging in. She'd booked an appointment and everything, obviously. And she had this little lad with her. He was only about 7 in a football kit, and he looked very miserable, being dragged to yet another adult to fix him. And she said, "Sort him out. He's angry like his dad." And she just left me there with him. And I thought, oh, child, no idea. So I thought, I'll try and make friends. So I said, "Hello, I'm Ali. Who are you?" And he went, "Peter." I went, "Hello, Peter. How you doing?" "All right." "Tell me about yourself." "I'm angry." Right. I thought this is going to be a very long hour, isn't it? So I said, "Can you tell me anything else about yourself?" And he went, "Nah, that's it. I'm angry." "Okay. How do you know you're angry?" "Mum tells me I am." "Okay. And anyone else?" "Yeah, Dad, teachers, my aunts, everybody." Right. Okay then. How do you know you're angry?" "I just am." No, I'm genuinely curious. How do you know you're angry?" He said, "Well, I don't, I just am." I went, "You see, because here's the thing, right? I know I'm angry when my foot starts tapping. I don't know what that's about, but when my foot starts tapping, I know I'm getting angry. And the interesting thing is that I think that part of me, my angry part, must live in my sock, and that's why my foot taps. This young fella looked at me like I was the biggest nutter he'd ever met, and I think he would have promised to behave forevermore if Mum had just come and got him at that stage, but he was trapped. So I said, "Yeah, no, it's true, my foot taps. But here's the thing, right? That's when I'm only a little bit angry, but when I get proper angry, I reckon that part of me runs up my leg into my eyebrow, because my eyebrow goes up, and then you just want to get out of the way." I wish I could tell you what this lad's face was like. Probably like yours. I can't see you right now, but it's like, So I said, "What about you? How do you know?" And he went, "I don't know." I went, "You must know. Come on, how do you know?" "I don't know." Now, any of you that are in therapy, worked with therapy or anything like that will know to build rapport with a child is quite good fun, can take a while. To get anywhere with them takes months on average. So here's where the magic happened. I went, "Come on, you must know." He went, "I don't know." I went, "You must know." And he went, "I don't know." Ooh. To this day, I don't know why I did it, but I reached across, pretended to take something from his hand, and I turned my back on him. So he's now stood behind me, this poor little fella in his football kit, not happy at all. I went, "Oh, hello, you are angry, aren't you? Is he always this angry? Is it just because Mum's dragged you here to see me?" See what I'd done? Something so simple. I'd separated that behaviour from him, put it in my hand, made it small, made it younger than him. So then what I did was, "Oh, do you know why he's angry, Peter?" "No, you don't know." "Are you angry because Mum makes you wear pink lycra?" Pretty much what I did for the next few minutes was just throw stupid questions, or at least I hope they were stupid questions, had this little angry part in my hand. And I was so safe from the fact he had football kit on, so the lycra was a good guess, yeah? And Peter's going, no, it's not that. No, okay. Are you making Peter angry because his mum makes him go to ballet? Again, fairly safe bet. Peter, no. I asked 2 or 3 more stupid questions. Peter got so cross with me. In the end, and this is about 5-10 minutes in, he went, he's angry because he doesn't want to be the big boy. Now, as a therapist, I wanted to dance around the room. That should have taken months. Like, yes! So inside, I had a little bit of a jig, kept me cool. I went, oh, so you're making Peter angry because you don't want to be the big boy. Oh, bless you. What's that about, Peter? Peter came and sat next to me, and he explained that he's got a little brother with additional needs. And, of course, everyone that comes to the house comes to see his little brother because he's not very well. Mum, stressed out of her tree because she's dealing with a little brother with additional needs who's not very well. Mum and Dad fighting a bit because their little brother additional. Once too often, Peter had gone up to Mum and gone, Mum, and Mum had said, Peter, please, I need you to be the big boy. Harmless enough, eh? For us as adults, that's harmless, isn't it? But what did he hear? He heard that thing that crucifies all of us. I'm not your baby anymore. I'm not loved. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not the other. And a million other things that a 7-year-old will feel when Mum does that. If I'd have left it there, I'd have been happy, but I didn't. While Peter was sat next to me, still holding the part in my hand, keeping it separate from him. So he's no longer angry, Peter. It's just Peter. It's just this part, yeah, that's kicking off because somebody needs to listen to it. And by separating it, Peter could talk to me about it. So I said, Peter, how can we help him? We've got to do something, haven't we? And Peter suggested that I tried speaking to Mum because I thought, okay. Mum came back and I sort of said, breathe. This is what's going on. And she was mortified, bless her, because of course she blimmin' loved him. She didn't mean anything by it. She's stressed, she's tired. She was just mortified. Picked him up, hugged him. Special time for him from now on, and she never says, I need you to be the big boy. Happy ending, eh? Could have left it there, we've been happy. A few weeks later, I was in one of the first schools that we got into. We get called in to work with the kids that everybody else has given up on, to be honest. And I'm chatting away to the head, but over the back, I can see Peter with some of his mates. I went, hey, Pete, you all right? He went, yeah. I said, how's that angry? He went, no, that's all good. Great, but he looked a bit sad. So I said, Pete, you sure you're all right, mate? And he went, yeah, Grandma's died. I was like, oh, no, here we go. I said, do we need to talk? And he went, no. I'll tell you, without breaking his stride, he reached into his chest, pulled out a part, and as he was walking off with his mates to play football, he went, it's all right, Grandma's with Grandad. We've had a chat. Sad's not sad. Later. Off he went. Think about that. 7 years old. And he took what I showed him with angry, that it's a part of him, not who he is, and that you can talk to it. And because you're older and wiser, doesn't matter how young they are, they're older than that part. You can solve its problems. But he did one better. He took that and he's now using it for every situation, every time an emotion got too big. That's where we began. And it has gone balmy. We're in schools all over the place. We got so big so quick, I had to find more Ollie coaches. Fortunately, a trainer I can train other therapists. So we opened our own school, the Ollie School, and we now train teachers, lots of teachers, parents, you name it, anybody and everybody to use the model either at home with their own children or in their working environment. Why superpowers? Play with me. See, here's the thing, right? Schools are doing a fantastic job. They're doing all they can to help our kids with emotional resilience. But they're not therapists, and they've got 30 kids in the class. But we look to them to sort it all out, don't we? So when I go into schools, I see up on the sign, on the walls, things like resilience, self-worth, empathy, and lots of other words I can't spell because I'm completely dyslexic. But the kids can spell it. Do they know what they mean? Probably not. Go with me. Can you all please just humour me? I can't see you, so you're not going to make a fool of yourself. Can you point to your brain, please? I'm just going to presume that you're game. You've done that. Brilliant. Can you all point to your heart, please? Cool, we get kids to do this in assemblies. We do free assemblies because I could sit here and preach. We like to show you how the kids react. So you know where your brain is, you know where your heart is. Can you draw me a heart in the air? You know, that kind of thing. I remember I had this lovely little lad, autistic lad, who sat at the front and he drew every little detail. I thought we were going to be there for hours, bless him. Kids can all do that. Why? Because you know what a brain looks like. You know what a heart looks like. It's tangible. You touch it, feel it. So then they say, okay, that's excellent. Now can you point to where your emotions live, please? Now I'm kind of guessing there was a bit of a pause. And we might have kind of got this kind of, or, I don't know. That's what the kids do. Can you draw me an emotion in the air? Might get a smiley face. There's a problem, isn't it? It's not tangible. You can't touch it, feel it. So the little guys, they all have a superpower. I made all of our emotions superpowers. And I introduced the idea that these little guys are your team and you're the captain. How cool. And it's a lovely way to explain why you need them all, because think about it, right? If you only had, I don't know, Brave, and you went to cross the road, Brave, you need scared or worried to go, oi, Brave, stop, left and right, mate. It's a lovely way of explaining to kids why we need all of our feelings, but in the right balance. There are no bad emotions. We have a way in the Ollie model, there's so much I'd love to tell you, but time's against me, where we have got kids absolutely loving anxiety. Yeah, you heard me, loving anxiety, go figure. Why? Because I've shown them how anxiety is actually a really cute little bodyguard. And all he's doing is making you aware of stuff. But the problem is, sometimes he makes you aware of stuff all the time and makes you anxious all the time because he does not realise that you've grown up. He thinks you're still tiny. He thinks he's still got to protect you from everything. And there is nothing cuter than a kid talking to their bodyguard and going, no, I'm 7 now. You don't need to do that. And I'm all right with that. I'm saying kids, it works for us too, adults. We then took it a step further because kids are really, really wanting to know everything. So how come I'm different from me mate then? Want to know how to explain the brain? I'm going to jump some slides here. We do it very simply. Sorry, all my psychology friends on here. This is how I explain the brain to children. I'm sure the teachers will sort it out in later years when they have to do biology. 2 parts of the brain that matters. See, it doesn't have to be real. It has to be tangible. It has to be something they can get their head round. Front part, iPhone. All it does, it's where your senses are. All it does is take in information all day long. That's all it's doing. It's got no idea what it's taking in. All right, I know iPhones don't smell or taste yet. It's only a matter of time though, isn't it? Back of the brain, subconscious mind. Blimmin' great library. Although the kids correct me all the time and tell me it's a mega thingy, what's it database. It's a library, right? I've written the books now. In the library is a little guy, librarian. That's mine. For some reason, he's French. His job is to file everything you've ever learned. And depending on how he files it, depends on how you walk through life. So, for example, broccoli is the best way to explain this. Yeah, I said broccoli. When I was about, I know, 4 or 5, I'd never, ever had broccoli before, ever. And this is pretty much how it played out, right? My mum's a lot of things, but cooking, but she won't see this, so I'm safe. So I'm sat there, little me, broccoli. My librarian has got to file stuff, so he needs to know what it is. So he speaks to the iPhone. He's French for some reason, so I apologise for this. And he says, eyes, what have we got here? It's kind of French, yeah? And my eyes would have said, I don't know, I've never seen it before. I've seen a tree, looks like a little tree. That's the best I can do. Right. The librarian said, ears, can you help me? And the ears would have gone, no, it's not saying much, can't help, sorry. What about you? Touch. They'll work for all the senses, yeah? Bit spongy. Smell. That's not nice. Taste. It was so bad I was violently ill. In that instant, the librarian put broccoli in a box in my library with Ali does not like broccoli, but most importantly, put the date on, Ali, age 5. Do you know, I'm now 56, I still don't eat broccoli because a 5-year-old takes over every time I sit down to eat. You don't like broccoli? Oh yeah, I forgot, sorry. People go through their whole life thinking they're stuck with what's in the boxes, but you're so not because you put it in there at a certain point in your life. And this works brilliantly for kids. A number of kids with phobias. I'm afraid of, this is one of my favourites, right? I'm afraid of dogs. why are you afraid of dogs? Because this huge one, as big as a house, jumped up at me. So we go to their library and we find the box. This is a true one. The little girl was about 10. This happened when she was about 4. And we look in the box in the library. And of course, it's all in there. The whole scene's in there, the smells, the sounds. And we're looking at it. And I'm getting her to tell me what happened, recall the memory. And she's like, yeah, there I am. And the dog's come in and it is bigger than me. I went, right, okay. I said, how tall are you now? And she came up to about my shoulder. I said, how tall were you when you were 4? And she barely came up to my waist. I went, right, so it was bigger than you then, so it came up to my waist, which means it came up to about here on you. So it wasn't as big as a dinosaur. Oh, no, I suppose not. And when you think about it, was it a really old dog with fangs and everything else you remember? I think it was a puppy. Oh, right. Was it really trying to hurt you, or was it just being really playful and silly? In that instance, we got rid of a blooming dog phobia because we've reframed what she's got in a memory box. It's that simple. This isn't rocket science. And we've just taken the model on and on from there. Reality tunnels, the world that we believe to be true around us, so different for each of us. That's all about those blooming boxes. If the boxes in your library are full of mum and dad saying, you're brilliant, well done, well, hey, crack on, have another go, it's going to be a lovely reality, isn't it? What if it's not? What if you don't fit in? What if you're a bit different? What if people are like this at you all the time? So it's a lovely way of explaining to kids why they're different, but more importantly, that just because it is doesn't mean it has to be. And I mentioned getting kids to love anxiety. Well, think about it, right? Fight or flight response. I don't have time. Hopefully you all know how it affects your body, yeah? Terrifies kids. They think they're having stomach pains, heart attacks, all sorts. But when you explain that actually, not only have you got a librarian, but you've got a little fellow who's your bodyguard, sixth sense. Some call him anxiety. And he knows everything that's in the boxes in your library, and he's circling around you all your life. We've all done it, haven't we? We've gone into a room and just felt a bit uncomfortable. We don't know why. That's your bodyguard. He's seen something. And because he's only little, it's not like he can leap out and go, don't worry, I'll save you. So he's got to alert you to it. And it's a lovely way of explaining to kids why you get all these physical symptoms in the fight or flight response. It'll make your tummy go a bit funny. And if you don't listen to that, then it might make your heart go a bit faster, and then and so on and so on. But kids get that actually it's not a bad thing. So up until fairly recently, as I said, we were being dragged into schools, foster adoption, early intervention, alternative provision, left, right and centre for the kids everyone else had given up on. And we work with the whole family because I truly believe all kids are trying to do is survive, and they can only work with what they've got. They might be really intelligent, but it don't mean they've got a database yet. So we have to work with the whole family. If you don't change the environment, any work we do with the kids not going to stick. And I wanted to do something with prevention. I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if I could get to the kids and just give them Ollie before they ended up in gangs or in trouble or not fitting in and all the things that we see every day these kids are going through. And I was told you can't do it. Well, I've proved you can. See, we have started a prevent program. In the beginning, Ollie Kids, I call it, but it's Ollie Teens, Ollie Mums, Ollie Teachers. We do it for all of you. And in the beginning, we just had like 10 kids max. Can't possibly do it the whole school, could you? Oh, yes, you can. So we're now in our second school, whole school, years 2 through to 6, an hour a week. And we are teaching them what I've just taught you and a whole load more. And they know that if at first you don't succeed, try again. Try again. Then try something different. They know anxiety is their bodyguard and they don't need to be frightened of it. They know that what they're feeling is a part of them, not who they are, and that they can help it. But one of the lovely things that we're doing in this program and a journal that we're about to release is we're encouraging children to actually list something that until now would have caused them a problem that day, a hurdle. Now, I write books. The books are actually aimed at parents, not kids, but they're coloured and all of that so the kids look at them. Because parents just need a bit of help, don't they, with all this? And in the books, there's a creature called a waif. This little fella, ugly little fella, and he's just in your ear all the time, limiting belief. You can't do that. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. They don't like you. He causes our kids so much. Our kids, he causes us so much trouble, doesn't it? How many times have you gone left when you wanted to go right, but that little fella went, you can't do it. You can't, you know, you can't do it. So what we've come up with within the programs that we're using in school at the moment, the prevent programs, is how to battle this little chap, how to beat him, how to argue against him. And the kids are having great fun with it. But for me, what's happening is they're overcoming their own problems before those problems take over. So we've gone from strength to strength. As I said, we're working all over the place. We're running 3 Ollie schools a year to try and get more coaches on board, and they are every walk of life. Seriously, we do have psychologists, so I'm quite proud. We have a couple of GPs now. We have lawyers, an awful lot of teachers, lots of mums and dads, bus drivers, hairdressers. I don't care. My thing is, if you can tell me why, I'll teach you how, because it ain't rocket science. So that's us. If anything I've said is of interest and we can help in any way, I'd be really grateful if you get in contact. I'm going to ask Sarah to come back in, because I can't read your questions, so she's going to have to come back in and read them for me. So Sarah, if you're there, I'd be very grateful if you could jump back in. Hello.
Hello, absolute pleasure to jump back in, Ali. That was a tremendous, wonderful presentation of Ollie. That was such heart. I think you really brought those children to life, and certainly the beginnings of it. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, at the moment we've got one question here which kind of ties in with some of the last things that you were mentioning around being in schools and really getting Ollie out there. So the question was around, what are your thoughts about including information, your Ollie information, as part of the core curriculum? Is that a kind of a hope, or?
I'm 56 years old, and when I finally go to sleep, I want to know I made a blooming difference, because like all of us, I guess, we all get into this for a reason, and mine's, I wish, Ollie coaches are the person I wish I had around when I was little, yeah? My dream is to get into teacher training schools, because one of the things that we do really well is communicate. We completely accept that we all learn differently. I'm kinesthetic. You want me to learn? Think about an IKEA kit, right? You want me to put it together. I'm not going to read the instructions. I'm not going to look at the picture. I'm going to get it out, touch it all, feel it all, chuck it together. It won't work. If I was very visual, I might look at the picture and have a crack at it. If I was very audio digital, so I'm very thinky, I'll line all the screws up and all the bits. We're all different. And we use all of that communication skills behind the fun side of Ollie to make sure that we're an absolute right fit for everybody that's brought to us. So I would love to get it into teacher training. My dream is absolutely to have this on the school curriculum. Schools are doing the best they can, they really are. And I'm just blown away. Talk about frontline workers, they should have been at the front. But the thing is, every school's doing something different. Something is better than nothing, but the kids are getting mixed messages. And a lot of it is intervention or changing the behaviour. Don't do that, do this. This is not how we behave like that. Well, I believe, right, this is a tree, right? Best way to explain it. These are the branches. Kids' behaviours, all of our behaviours are on the branches. Historically, therapy has dealt with the behaviour, snipped it off one at a time, either go and stand in the corner, sit on that step, traffic lights, whatever, yeah? In that context, it might deal with the behaviour, but that behaviour will come back elsewhere. Why? Because it's driven by an emotion, one of my superpowers. So if you don't deal with the superpower, you're not really going to deal with the behaviour. And I think that if we can get to children and teach them through programmes, and yeah, of course I'd love it to be Ollie, because it's simple and it's playful and the kids get it. I just know the kids that I see now, 12, 13, 14, that are suicidal, out there on their own, self-harming, eating disorders, I wouldn't be seeing them. I truly believe that. I know we're not going to solve every issue, but I reckon we can put a blooming great dent in it. There was some figures up the other day, you know, if this is a funding thing, because let's be honest, it comes down to money. And government figures were saying that on average, the children in the UK, I think there was 1 in 6 kids in the UK that need therapy or are in therapy. And the average cost is about 11 to 56 grand a year to the government. So if we've got to talk about money, that dirty thing, rather than worrying about our kids' well-being, let's talk about it, shall we? My Ollie coaches aren't with a kid for more than 6 or 7 sessions, and they ain't nowhere near 11 grand, nowhere near. And then they don't need us again because of what I said about Peter. They take what we've given them. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd love to. And if anybody ever hears this, that could do anything about that, I'm there.
No, I mean that I'm seeing at the moment chat popping up about considering going into schools, being around teaching assistants and learning support assistants. I mean, I know as educational psychologists we do a lot of work with learning support assistants, and there's also mostly emotional literacy support assistants that we put out there. And I think, you know, as you say, there are lots of different programs and many of them really, really good.
Yeah.
But this seems like a really kind of quite a package that's really going to make sense to children, and it incorporates a lot of psychological theories that we use. Again, someone in chat has mentioned about personal construct theory, which is a psychological thing. That's what this speaks to. Narrative therapies, you know, acceptance and commitment therapy, that whole idea of externalizing, having somewhere to think about those emotions outside yourself, which I think is so useful to children, and as you say, young children as well, to really grab those concepts.
The funny thing is that, you know, people say to me, well, do you need to change the model? Will it work for my son who's autistic, or will it work for me? I'm 35. And we do not change the model, we just change the language. So there's a lovely story. I was in a school in London, and the Senko had written on this lad's form, anger issues. He came in and he was a big lump and he slouched down, and you could see I was just, another adult was going to have a shot at him. I said, how you doing? It says on here, you're angry. And he went, I ain't angry. I went, okay. I said, yeah, that's just somebody else's interpretation, you know. What would you call throwing chairs at teachers then? She says, backing out the room. And he went, I'll get vexed in it. So I ripped his forms up and I just put vexed in it. And we just worked with Vexed.
What he has, yeah, definitely. I know. One of the questions that's just popped up in the Q&A box, Ali, someone saying that they love the graphics and the pictures that you shared. I'm wondering if you've got any other characters. I'm already noticing one in your background, actually. You know, different cultural and gender identity, and I suppose that's kind of, you know, are you expanding that part of it?
Absolutely. I can honestly say I never knew this would happen. I just had an idea to help me work better with kids, and it's gone balmy. If anyone told me I'd be doing this. So we got 5 books out at the moment, and the characters in it, Ollie learns about his superpowers in an old people's home, because I love that idea. So my next bit is Ollie Silver Surfers. So I'm going to get into old people's home and teach them how to be Ollie coaches, so the kids can go in. And the lead character is Mr. Wilcox in this old people's home, who tells Ollie about his superpowers. And I just love that idea, because that's just got legs, isn't it? But yes, the girls got cross. Why have we got a boy with superpowers? And at the time, we were doing a lot of work with foster and adoption. So we brought Molly in, who is a foster kid, who is now, well, you have to read the books, but she's happy now. She's good now. And yes, the plan is, as the books divulge, we're going to bring loads of other characters in. So yeah, I get, you know, why haven't we got any mixed race characters in there? Why haven't we got anybody with a disability?
Yeah, lovely.
We haven't yet, but
it sounds like it's there in the plans.
Yeah.
Having spoken to you already, Ali, I know you've always got lots of plans and ideas. So now we've got quite a long message here, but I want to read it out because there's some lovely sentiment in it. So someone said, I absolutely love this. You've brought so many concepts that I try to integrate into my work into a child-friendly, engaging and exciting program. Narrative, externalizing emotions, being viewed as good and valuable and helpful. Use of ACT, mindfulness, I think all the things that I've just mentioned, being able to diffuse from unhelpful thoughts, just brilliant. It really helps playfully trump some of the mainstream unhelpful ideas that can propagate and cause more distress. How do we get involved? And a big smiley face. So I have shared all of the links that you and Caroline shared with me in the chat, and we can add those to the description on the YouTube channel as well. So there are lots of ways to get in touch with you, aren't there?
Can I just say thank you? I'm just me, right? Ollie's the thing, and my Ollie coaches are the thing that makes this happen, and the amazing team behind me. I've got the good job, but thank you. That means a lot, and it matters that we change our kids' lives, doesn't it? And we give them a chance. What we do in every organisation, I can sit here and wax, but you need to see it. So what we do in schools, if anyone is in a school and be interested, we do free assemblies. We just come in and do it, or one of my coaches will. Why? Because I want to watch you see those kids leave that room talking about their superpowers. We also do a free parent-teacher intro. It's about an hour long, so like I've just done, but without me going at 100 miles an hour in a little bit more detail. So, because we know that if I send a kid home and he's worked out it's his superpower, not him, can you imagine it? He goes home, Mum, it wasn't me that's bad, it's my superpower. Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? So we need to get everyone involved. And you know, parents are doing the best they can with the info they've got. So if you want us in the school, please give us a shout. If you want to join us, blooming heck, do we need you? We're getting bigger. And one of the questions I get asked all the time is, can you scale up to deliver? Well, I'm working on it.
Yeah, you definitely are. And I suppose in this, it's going to probably grow your output. But the last question that I've got is this suitable, or are you going to be doing it in secondary schools?
We already are. And
Okay.
as I said, we just changed the language. So we don't change our attire. We purposely wear T-shirts and jeans. If I do this in corporate worlds, because we're talking communication breakdown, self-worth and all that. So I do an awful lot of change management in the corporate world. I still wear my T-shirt. And all that changes is I might not go in with that banner. And I might not talk about superpowers. I'll be talking about whatever the kids call them, Vexed, emotions. And I'll just upgrade what we're talking about. Not a fear of a dog, fear of not being good looking enough, not fitting in with the in crowd, and body beautiful, eating disorders, the future. We just adapt to whatever it is that it's in line with what those kids need.
It matters, definitely. And I mean, certainly from the work we've been doing in Southend around, we surveyed a lot of the children in the area and across the UK with other surveys, what's COVID been like for them. And spontaneously, a lot of young people have been mentioning their emotional well-being. Some of it quite positive about things they've found themselves that have been helpful, but
That's
also
true.
just a real awareness. You know, there's so much more awareness themselves of this thing called emotional well-being and what they do about it.
I think what I've seen with COVID, the little ones, they've got mum and dad, haven't they? They're happy as. So the bigger problems than mum and dad going back to work, we've got attachment issues and a lot of unwanted puppies. But the teens, do you know, if there's already something not quite right there on the self-worth or resilient front, COVID's brought it out. So if you already didn't have a tribe, if you're already a little bit out there, you're more out there. You're more on your own. And so we've had a massive influx of, well, we all know about the rates of suicide in young men especially, but people really confused about who they are, where they belong. And yeah, but again, if I'd have got to those kids when they were 4 or 5, regardless of what the future holds, they'd have a better chance.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, it's it sounds like it's going to be an amazing resource, and we'll certainly be keeping in touch with you and finding out more. And I think someone has again just put a quick message asking if there are any coaches in the Northwest. So
yes.
there you go, there's your answer to that one. So again, get in touch with Ali. The details and all your Twitter handles and everything are in the chat, and they'll be in the YouTube description as well. So Ali, do you want to leave us with a final thought, a final inspirational thought after that wonderful webinar that I think's invigorated everyone to go and be more Ollie?
I think this came about all my life, right? Because I can't read and write. It has been a chip on my shoulder. I'm larger than life, like the kids are that are struggling at school, because that protects you, doesn't it? If you make people laugh, don't pick on you. And I thought, you know, if I can make that path easier for any kid, and some of the work that we do that I absolutely love, we've just taken on a contract in Northern Ireland with an organisation called May Murray. It's a group of teens, they're 14 to 19, I don't know, physical disabilities, you name it, they've got it. It's a proper mix. And we started working with them to put a workshop together, and I wasn't getting anywhere. And the reason I wasn't getting anywhere when I asked the question was because they didn't believe there was a future. Because. And I said, talk to me. And they said, well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Try as I might, I'm stuck in a bloody wheelchair. Try as I might, I've got no arms. What can I do? You know, that's what I thought. Yeah, get your point. So I said, and take this one away, guys. The only person blocking you from doing anything you want to do, including come and join us, be an Ollie coach, I need you, is you. So try this one for size. If at first you don't succeed, don't give up. That's just, if at first you don't succeed, try again. If you want, try again. And then do what I did. Try something different.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that one myself, Ali. I think that's a really good way to lead it. We've got messages coming up in chat thanking you for such a great session and everything. I can save the chat, so I'll share those with you afterwards.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, but no, thank you very much. It's been such an inspiring session, and we'll look forward to seeing you again very soon, I think.
Thanks for the opportunity, Sarah.
My pleasure. Thank you. And goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining us or watching again on YouTube. Night.